Yesterday, His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu had an interview with the BBC. I think he's the only opposition leader who has had a chance to speak with the BBC. Of course, with General Kaguta Museveni. It shows you that the election is between General Kaguta Museveni and Bobi Wine. In fact, I want to discuss this interview. When the interview was going on, Bobi Wine raised some pertinent issues. In fact, he said these statements. Listen very carefully because it's going to form a basis for a discussion. Here is the tape.
Bobi Wine joins us live now from Kampala, Uganda. Bobi, thank you so much for being with us. When you think about the fact that most Ugandans who are under the age of 40, which by the way is 75% of the population, have only ever known one president. They've only ever known Museveni as their leader. Just in terms of that and the widespread rigging that we have seen in previous Ugandan elections, the widespread voter intimidation, the fact that Museveni has such a tight grip on the institutions in your country. Talk to us about why it is important for you to run again this time.
Thank you very much. It is important for us to challenge the authoritarian ruler again and again and again until we eventually get our freedom, because not challenging him means giving up. Yes, we know that all odds are up against us, the military, the police, and all institutions of state. But also it is clear that the people of Uganda are standing firmly behind the forces of change that I am leading. So we are challenging Museveni first and foremost to remove any iota of doubt to the world, especially in the international community, and to remove all the pseudo-legitimacy that he lies the international community with. And therefore, the people of Uganda will be able to fight for their rights while the world will stand with them. That is why we're running again.
First of all,
in 2021,
very many people have always come out to ask those questions. I remember yesterday I was in town and one of the person asked me, why are we going to vote when we are sure that General Museveni is going to steal our elections? And even some had some echoes saying that maybe we must boycott an election since it is authoritarian. One of the worst reasons a person can do is boycott. It's like when someone is planning not to give you food and you now boycott not eating food. At least you have to fight for our share. Another thing, authoritarian, we must resist authoritarian rule and dictatorship. And there is no form of resistance other than participation. Even if odds are against you, you make a statement. Secondly, as General Museveni also ages, even his grip is not tight as it used to be. It's the reason why he's so desperate. It's the reason he displays the armor, the police, whenever Bobi Wine is going. So any person who comes out to say that Bobi Wine shouldn't participate because of the obvious, we must not hear him. In fact, let's also continue with the interview.
Results, you talked about the fact that the results were essentially all but guaranteed, that the voting was rigged. You can test the results, but obviously it didn't lead to any meaningful outcome. Talk to us about what you have learned this time around. What are some of the lessons that you learned from the last time you ran back in 2021? I remember interviewing you then. What lessons have you learned from them that you're applying now, Bobi?
First and foremost, we've learned that dictators might not go with the first or second or third push, but eventually they fall if we don't give up. We have learned that we have to devise various means of communication, but most importantly, we've learned that we have to send back the responsibility to the population. In the previous election, I was under house arrest immediately after casting my ballot, which I expect the same thing now. As we speak right now, more than 730 of our colleagues are in detention. They've been arrested. Many are abducted and are missing. Some have been killed, but we are pushing on. But again, this time, we don't anchor it on an individual. We don't anchor it on myself. Yes, I'm the presidential candidate. Yes, I'm the leader. But we have tasked the people of Uganda to take charge of the campaign, to take charge of the voting, of the vote protection, but most importantly, in case Museveni rigs the election, like all signs are showing, the people of Uganda must rise up and demand for their victory.
Oh, okay, so you've also heard him say that the burden must be shifted to the to the people. First of all, Ugandans should learn. It's like when you talk to some people, they tell you, okay, you are going to vote BOBI WINE. What is he going to do that has never been done? And that's the problem of very many Ugandans. They think that the individual BOBI WINE is the one to fight for equity and equality and constitutionalism. BOBI WINE may be the leader and an embodiment, but it's the people. BOBI WINE alone is not powerful. The reason why BOBI WINE has pushed back to the regime is because of the support he has. If that support can be converted to civil disobedience, to standing firm for our rights and constitution, we can achieve that. There is no individual that has ever come out to fight for human rights. They are just figures and leaders. It's the people. The moment Ugandans understand their duty, in fact, the reason why as a leader like BOBI WINE must continue preaching it to the people, eventually they should understand. I remember BOBI WINE once came out to say that, I asked Raila Amolo Odinga what keeps him pushing, because Raila Amolo Odinga in East Africa, I think, is one of the biggest opposition leaders who have influenced change in his country. Even when they were taking on Moi was not taken down in one attempt. It was several attempts, and until the opposition threatened power and decided to go out of power. So it's the same that we're supposed to do. We must threaten power. People should get involved and know their rights. Let's continue with the interview.
What message do you have for young Ugandans who feel disillusioned about politics? I mean, we've seen in neighboring Tanzania, for example, just a few months ago, that election was also widely contested, and there was a massive crackdown as well on opposition voices as well. Just talk to us about how young Ugandans who feel disillusioned about politics, who feel that this time the vote is all but certain and that it is rigged, how do they stand up for peaceful and democratic change in your country?
To the young Ugandans, we've constantly told them that democracy works, but democracy only works when people stand firm and defend it. Therefore, we would have opted for violent means, but we don't believe in violence. Violence has never gotten nations anywhere. We believe in voting firmly and outstandingly many, and then defend that election, defend that victory. We've called upon the people of Uganda to exercise their constitutional right. Our constitution, Article 29, provides that the people of Uganda can peacefully, unarmed, protest any wrongdoing. And that is what we're calling upon the people of Uganda in case General MUSEVENI rigs the election this time.
So are you hearing what BOBI WINE is saying? First of all, BOBI WINE is coming out to say that democracy works for as long as people stand firm. One of the reasons as to why BOBI WINE brought something, a technique that is new one, he empowers people to vote. Not only civil disobedience, because even when you are fighting for your victory, at least you can fight for something you have some entitlement to. For example, if I don't go out to vote, what will be the reason as to why I go out in defiance if my vote is stolen? The first step is voting. In fact, I keep on telling people that dictators have fallen democratically, like Kamuzu Banda. Kamuzu Banda was defeated by Bakiri Muruzu. Kamuzu Banda was, I think, also in his 80s. For as long as the statement can be made soundingly, to an extent that he doesn't even get members of parliament, or he performs dismally, even if he comes out to say that to resist the vote, people can use it as a trigger to ask for their victory. But if you don't come out and vote, you may even lack apathy. You may even lack what drives you to fight for your vote. For the first step is voting. The second step is to understand the power of your vote and come out and fight. I think BOBI WINE here is right. Let's continue with the interview.
BOBI is very different from governing. Just in terms of your plans, I mean, what can you share with us if you ever were to reach the top job in Uganda? What would you share? What can you share about your plans in terms of tackling the economic hardship that has plagued the young people of Uganda, in terms of tackling corruption, which is obviously a massive issue as well, in terms of uniting Ugandans across ethnic lines? What would be your priority, BOBI, from day one?
Thank you. The issue of leading our country is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. because we are confident. We've seen that all across the country, and we are sure that the people of Uganda will entrust the next generation with the leadership. Back in the day, our problems were three: ignorance, disease, and poverty. But now our problem can squarely be circled into one: corruption. Massive corruption, which has been institutionalized, which has been turned into a currency and as a way of living and a way of staying in power. We want to crack down on that corruption when we take power. But most importantly, we also want to re-empower the institutions of state, and end the state capture. Ensure that the judiciary and the legislature are independent and can check the executive. That way, we will be able to stop the one-man rule and have knowledgeable, talented, and able people to bring minds together and lead our country ahead.
So that is Bobi Wine after being asked that after winning the vote, what will you do? I think one of the things that he missed out, I pray that after getting the new leadership, we must do some constitutional reforms, even if it means a referendum. First of all, to install the two-term limits, not only installing them through parliament, a constitutional overhaul. Either we do devolution, like it is in Kenya, or federalism. Personally, I would prefer federalism, for as long as it can be packaged very well. Okay? Because getting a new constitution and also getting the people to obey the new constitution by force, it will also create institutionalism. A new constitution like federalism or devolution will also reduce power from the presidency. Just changing the presidency and fighting corruption, even if you get a bad leader, power corrupts. For as long as there's a lot of power in the office of the president, we shall get nothing. Power must be devolved, and there is no way we can devolve power other than having devolution or federalism. In that way, we shall be getting a new Uganda. So probably Bobi Wine interview on CNN is good. It has showed that now he has even matured more in politics and the way how he answers questions. Not as I'm not saying that before he was not doing so, but he has continued to even grow in the spheres of politics and being observant of the fact of our politics in Uganda. Of course, as my opinion remains yours truly, Mr. Makinde. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. See you on another one. Peace.